Everyone in the neighborhood saw him as just another quiet old man, mowing his lawn, waving politely, living his peaceful retirement. But when the HOA decided to pick a fight with him over violations, they made the biggest mistake of their lives. Because this wasn't just any homeowner, this was the man who built half the houses they lived in. After 40 years in construction, Frank Miller, a retired builder, finally settled down in the neighborhood he helped create. He designed the streets, the sidewalks, even the park where kids played. It was more than a neighborhood to him, it was his legacy. But one morning, a bright orange paper appeared on his front door. HOA violation, unauthorized fence color. Frank frowned. His fence? It was the same color it had been for 15 years, the same color used in the original plans. He called the HOA office politely, thinking it was a mistake. But the new HOA president, a young man named Chad, laughed. Greater than, "Rules are rules, Mr. Miller. You'll have to repaint it, or face a fine." Frank sighed. He didn't want trouble, so he complied. But the fines didn't stop there. Next week it was his mailbox, then his driveway. Then the flowers his late wife planted, not approved colors, they said. For weeks Frank stayed quiet. But when they threatened to put a lien on his home, something inside him shifted. He went to his shed, pulled out a dusty folder filled with blueprints, his original designs. The next HOA meeting was packed. Homeowners complained about fees and unfair fines. And then Frank stood up, greater than, "You all live in homes I built with my own hands," he said calmly. "Before any of you were here, I laid the foundation for this town. Every street, every drain, every curb designed by me. And I still have the original permits and land rights that your HOA never reviewed." The room went silent. Chad smirked, thinking Frank was bluffing. Until Frank opened the folder and showed the town seal, the signatures, even his name engraved on the first development contract. The HOA board froze. They'd been enforcing rules on land that technically still listed Frank as co-owner of the development rights. A week later, the HOA dropped all fines and issued an apology letter to every homeowner. Chad quietly resigned. Frank didn't brag or seek revenge. He simply went back to tending his lawn, watering his wife's flowers, and waving to neighbors who now looked at him with new respect. One afternoon, a little boy from down the street asked him, "Mr. Miller, did you really build our house?" Frank smiled and said, "Every brick has a story, son. You just have to listen. Never underestimate the quiet ones."